Hey everybody, it's February the 1st, and you know what that means, right? Requests Month. If you don't know what it means, then you're probably pretty new here. And the idea here is that I usually have one review every week, and it's something that people have requested for some time, or it's been donated, or something like that. In this particular case, it's probably going to be more than 4 reviews, because at least one thing I actually have to lead up with another review. So stay tuned for all of that. But let's go ahead and talk about the viewer survey here. Now, I would like to extend my thanks to all of you who actually took the survey, and the feedback is certainly greatly appreciated, and I will take a look at seeing about what I can do as a result of it. As far as the actual results, they weren't all that surprising. The majority of you are watching my reviews and classic reviews, and the How to Fail viewership, as well as the Let's Play and Playthrough stuff, is pretty low on the list. Most of you aren't watching those. Ironically, when it comes to the content you'd like to see more of, it pretty much echoes that, except for you want less how to fails and more let's plays and playthroughs. The thing being, I don't really have the time to do let's plays and playthroughs right now. That's why you haven't seen much of them. So when I actually get some time to do that, I will certainly resume the XCOM Let's Play and try to resume the KOTOR Let's Play and things like that. As far as the how to fails, those are just the result of me actually going through a game. So as a byproduct of just going through games, it's really more of an intermittent thing. As you've probably noticed, they get uploaded very sporadically, certainly more than Let's Plays and playthroughs, because it takes me more time to actually sit down and do a Let's Play or playthrough. But the how to fails are pretty spontaneous, so honestly, I can't predict when or if they will happen. And if they do happen, well, for those of you who don't like them, don't watch them. It's really that simple. So, moving on to the interest in console reviews, most of you were either neutral or interested. There were a few of you who weren't interested at all, and a few of you who weren't really all that interested. It's not like these are going to just replace my PC game reviews. I'm still a PC gamer. It's just that there are certain games that I have on console or that I can't get on PC, like, say, Red Dead Redemption, that I actually want to review, and so it's just kind of a matter of, well, you got to do what you can with what you got. So look forward to that later in the year. Then we move on to the things that people would like me to add to the channel. One that gets requested quite a bit is top 10s or countdowns. I have a hard time organizing things into hierarchies, and so I typically don't do something like that. I've actually tried to do it fairly recently, and just to see if I actually could figure anything out, and I really couldn't. I ended up with a large list of possible options, and I just couldn't narrow them down, so that got kind of annoying. If I ever do figure out something with that, then I will certainly see about doing a top 10 or countdown, but we'll have to see on that. Some of you wanted higher quality videos, as in you wanted 1080p instead of 720p. I actually can't do 1080p because my monitor is 1280 by 1024. That is a 5x4 resolution. If I had a 1080p monitor, I could do 1080p videos, but I don't have one, so I can't do it. Thus, I do 720p. And honestly, a monitor is very, very low on my list of to-get items. Somebody requested montages that are just silly clips or something like that, or other silly things. I don't know. We'll see about that. I do know that a lot of you people seem to think I don't have a sense of humor, but I certainly do. And I just tend not to do it in reviews and such like that, because why would I do it in reviews unless the game is just so stupid or terrible that it deserves to be made fun of? And I'm not really a comedian, so that doesn't help either. I make quips every so often and witty comments and things like that, but I'm not going to sit there and just do a comedic episode or something like that. But we'll see about trying to lighten the mood on certain things. I got a few topics for my thoughts on videos, and I will see about doing some of that in the future, possibly. We'll see. Somebody asked about streaming. I can't really do that right now. My internet connection actually isn't up to that, so unless that improves, which probably won't right now, it's probably not going to happen. We'll have to see, though. And right now my PC isn't up to it either. I need to wait until I get the new rig to do that. Somebody asked for analyses, and they didn't explain what they meant. So if you're out there, then please explain to me what you meant by that, because I don't understand what you meant. Of course, I got more requests for mod reviews. Not gonna happen. I don't review mods. At the most, it would be my thoughts on videos. I've made this clear before. And if you're going to request something like Narim for Oblivion, don't bother. I will refuse them outright because I am so tired of Oblivion and Skyrim and Fallout 3 that I don't want to have anything to do with them anymore. Same goes for something like the Stalker series. I'm beyond done with that. For other mods, we just have to see. Moving on to other things. Some people requested co-op stuff. That's really more of a scheduling issue than anything else. It's kind of hard to actually organize co-op Let's Plays and stuff like that. I've never done a co-op review either, so I don't know how that would even work. But for Let's Plays, it's really a matter of, do we both have the game, and do we have the time to actually do the Let's Play? If so, then it could happen. And I've done co-op stuff in the past. I did a co-op LP of Splinter Cell Chaos Theory with Sooth, but he took those videos down for some reason. I think he just deleted his channel altogether and started a new one. But that it has been done in the past. I should have actually recorded that stuff myself, but my stuff was acting up at the time. So we'll have to see on that. I'd certainly like to do some more co-op stuff. It was fun, but again, we'll just have to see on that. Some people requested more of the games that infuriate me to no end videos. There's a reason those are so rare. It's because most games don't infuriate me to no end. And oddly enough, a lot of those are on console, so I guess when I get the recording device, then I can actually do some more of those GTIs on certain games anyway. I'll certainly keep it in mind, though, when I come across a game that actually does infuriate me to no end. Moving on to more things, somebody asked me to experiment and figure out stuff that might work, just try new things. Thinking about doing a few videos on tabletop games. Because most of you guys know me as a video game related channel, but you don't really know that I actually play a lot of tabletop RPGs, as well as card games, board games, things like that when I get the chance. So I think talking about that kind of stuff would be pretty cool and just a supplementary video. It's not like this would replace anything. It'd just be probably uploaded on one of the days where I don't actually upload anything. Because right now my schedule is reviews on Mondays and Fridays, and then if I have an MTO to upload, it's going to be on a Wednesday. So maybe in one of the days where I'm not uploading anything, I could just put a video on tabletop stuff together. So let me know if you think that would be kind of cool to go over. Speaking of experimenting, I got a request for movie reviews. I'm not entirely sure on that one. I know way more about video games and just gaming in general than I know about movies. Not that I don't know anything about movies, I actually know quite a bit. It's just that I don't know if I'm really up to doing full-on movie reviews in the same way I'm doing video game reviews. So what would probably happen is if I'm doing a movie review, it'd probably be in text instead of a video. But we'll have to see on that one. Somebody asked me to do how-tos and guides. That's something I already do, I just don't do it very often. So I'm guessing you just want me to do more of that. Send me topics for what you want to see on that, because I don't really know what to make how-tos and guides for, which is why I don't usually make them. But I certainly could if I had a topic to go over. Similarly on topics, somebody asked me if I could do stuff on gaming news, and probably not. I do keep up with it. But if I'm going to end up going over gaming news, then inevitably it's going to become political, and I don't do that crap in my videos. So I'm not going to go that route. If there's something that's really noteworthy, I might make an MTO on it or something like that, or just a quick vlog or something like that. But I'm certainly not going to do a regular news show. That just doesn't seem like something I would be doing. Somebody asked me if I could do updates on games that might have changed since the review. That's what addendums are really for. So pretty much already have something like that. Somebody also requested that I do reviews of entire series in one video. And except for certain kinds of games, that wouldn't really work. They actually specifically mentioned Thief. That would be a pretty terrible idea. Because think about it. How long are my reviews normally? They're good, 10 to 20 minutes. And so smash 3 of those together. You're looking at a good 40 to 50 to hour long video. It'd be kind of ridiculous to do that on a regular basis. That's why I don't really do that. Because if I did have to do it, then I would actually have to cut down on the commentary as well to keep it a sort of reasonable length. And obviously, editing a video that long would be pretty horrible. I've already done it once, and I don't really want to do it again unless I absolutely have to. The Skyrim review took me several hours to edit. Normally it takes me a good hour to 2 hours to edit together a review, and then even longer than that to compile it. And the longer the video is, the more complex it is, the longer it's going to take to compile. So just keep all that in mind. I have fairly limited time here. But with that, we're through the things that people would like me to add to the channel, except for a couple of jokes that I got in there. So let's go ahead and move on to things that people would like me to change or improve. The number one thing that I got there was more editing, which is what I'm currently doing. And so that's pretty much being worked on already. The next thing was 60 FPS video, which I'm also already doing, when I can anyway, because some games are locked at 30 for some bizarre reason. And in one upcoming review, I recorded most of the footage at 30 FPS some time ago, because I did intend on doing that review months ago, in fact, before I started doing the 60 FPS thing. And so we're dealing with a lot of 30 FPS footage there, and I just want to keep it consistent on that. So I apologize for that one, but that's probably going to be the last one, unless the game is locked at 30 FPS for some bizarre reason, or if it just doesn't record right unless it's at 30 FPS. Then most of them from now on are going to be 60 FPS. Now let's see, somebody asked me to remove the how to fail videos. Well, no guarantees on that, because honestly, if you're complaining about how to fails, then there's not much to complain about, because I don't upload them very much. And when I do upload them, they're very short clips, and you don't have to watch them. And speaking of not uploading very much, I got a request to improve the scheduling of my Let's Plays and playthroughs. Again, that's dependent on time. Somebody asked me to shorten my reviews down to about 5 minutes long. That's not going to happen. I realized a long time ago that 5 minutes is nowhere near enough time to go over a game in any sort of detail, so there's no way in hell I'm going to shorten my reviews down to that low of a length. So I'm sorry, but that's just not going to happen. Because that would actually conflict with another thing that somebody asked me to do, and that would be to never dumb my reviews down ever. So I would kind of have to do that if I'm going to shorten the reviews that much. So one issue that people pointed out is that I mumble on occasion toward the end of sentences, and that can get kind of annoying if you're not a native speaker in particular and you're trying to listen and you just can't really follow what I'm saying. So I guess I'll try to work on that. It's something I do subconsciously, though. Much like how I say things like suffice to say or anyway as transition phrases and words. And so here's the thing. Either I would say those or they would get replaced with something else and you would just find that annoying. So honestly, I kind of had to say deal with it at this point. Because I can't just constantly change my speech until I sound like a freaking robot. That would just be ridiculous. And that's exactly how I would sound if I scripted everything out. I actually don't script any of my reviews, in case you didn't know that. And so that's why it sounds a bit more natural when I'm speaking. If I were to script things out, then I'd be just reading from a text file, and then it would just sound ridiculous. Now what I can do in that regard is make notes to myself for keeping the structure more consistent, because one person wanted me to cut down on the rambling that I can do. So a few notes would probably help out with that, and it's something that I probably should do, and I have done before. I actually did it on my Skyrim review. But then again, I did go over quite a lot in that review, and it ended up being nearly an hour long, so it was kind of necessary to have some notes to myself so I wouldn't get too wildly off track. For most of my reviews, it's not that big of a problem. At most, I might ramble for a minute or two. And so I guess I can keep notes on those to just say, hey, don't ramble about this for too long. But it shouldn't be too huge of a problem. Now, what is a problem is that somebody asked me to further explain story and characters and such like that when I'm doing these reviews. The problem there is I don't want to spoil games for you. And talking about the plot and the characters in too great detail ends up becoming a problem, because then you have the entire plot spoiled for you. Hence me trying to avoid spoilers as much as possible by just not discussing the plot and characters in any great amount of detail. For example, if I went over the twist in Knights of the Old Republic and those of you who haven't played that game actually knew what happens, then it wouldn't actually have any effect, now would it? Somebody also suggested to be more professional with things like intro clips and more editing in my videos and such like that. I don't know. We'll have to see on that. And somebody else suggested I get a new microphone. That's exactly what I did, and I'm using it right now. In fact, one of the ones that got suggested as a replacement for my microphone is the kind of microphone I currently use. So there you go. I'm not an audio expert, so I don't entirely know how to get the full-on crisp sound that I would like out of the microphone, and that I know it's certainly capable of, but we'll have to see if I can figure something out on that. And last but not least, in the survey, I had a section for you to gripe at me, or just throw in other comments. And most of you were very supportive and were just thanking me for what I do and things like that, and I greatly appreciate stuff like that. And then there are some of you who were complaining about certain things, which is okay. That's why I have that section there. First things first, apparently I always sound depressed as hell. Well, there's a pretty good reason for that, and it's that I pretty much am depressed as hell half the time. So either I'm depressed as hell, and that's what's coming across in the videos, or I'm just really, really tired after a long day. So there you go, folks. I can't really help my mood, so there you go. More gripes include me being an ass in the comments section sometimes, and part of that is that sarcasm doesn't always transfer very well via text. If I'm talking to you, more often than not you can figure out that I'm being sarcastic. Text doesn't really transfer that very well, so what ends up happening is that I'm being sarcastic and people take it as personal insults, because they don't get the whole I'm just being ridiculous and being a smartass thing. And going off of that, people seem to think I'm condescending as well. I can be, I know, but that's more often than not the result of me having absolutely no clue why people would enjoy a certain game. For example, Skyrim. I quite literally cannot comprehend why anyone enjoys that pile of garbage, and yet people enjoy it. And so when I say things like I can't remotely figure out why people enjoy it, suddenly people go berserk at me because how dare I say that they're basically subhuman because of this. No, I literally mean I cannot understand why you enjoy this particular game, because it's terrible in every respect. People are just way too sensitive these days, it seems, and they attach way too much to certain video games. For example, with Skyrim, a lot of people get so attached to that and go berserk at me for calling it out for what it is, as if I have personally insulted them and their family and something like that. And yet, it's just a video game. People just need to lighten up. Moving on to other gripes. Somebody was confused about my review score scale because they were saying, well, I think that a 1 out of 5 or a 1.5 should be reserved for especially terrible games. I have a video up on what my score scale means. Please watch it. It's not your scale, it's my scale. You do not have any say in what any of the scores mean. Again, I am not trying to sound like a dick here. It's my decision. It's my channel. It is not your channel. If you made your own channel, you are free to have whatever review score scale you would like. Or even not have a review score scale. But this is my channel. It's my scale. I have a video up explaining it. Please watch that. Please be informed. And that brings up another point that people are griping about, the pauses in my commentary. Sometimes I pause for effect, sometimes I pause to catch my breath, because I actually do most of these things in basically one take. And if you've ever tried to talk for longer than a few seconds at a time, you know that it actually gets pretty hard and you need to actually catch your breath. So that's pretty much what those pauses are for. They're for me to catch a breath. That said, yes, some of them last way too long, and I've been cutting down on those recently. So that problem is also being resolved. Somebody told me not to judge games based on the color palette, which is kind of amusing. I don't judge them based on the color palette, although I do find it very annoying when it's nothing but brown and gray and realistic, because I'm just so tired of seeing that crap. Life is full of color. Why does everything have to be brown and gray? It's ridiculous. Moving on to other things. Apparently something completely out of my control. YouTube's being stupid on notifying people about the uploads, so that's kind of out of my control. I can't really do anything about that, but I know it is a problem. Somebody was complaining about me apparently not knowing what subjectivity is, and I have a treat for you, but it's going to be further on in the year, so just stay tuned for that. You'll love it. Don't worry. And last but not least on the gripes or other comments is that apparently it's nice to know I am not corrupted by media popularity or being a commercial sellout or anything like that. Cue the Mountain Dew and Doritos ads. No, I'm just messing with you. Obviously, I'm not going to accept crap like that, and I don't like it when other people do it either. You guys know by now that I'm brutally honest, so when it comes to this sort of thing, the most I accept from a developer or publisher is a review copy of the game, and maybe a press kit, which is basically just logos and such that, in my case, I would really just use to make video thumbnails. So that's really all I accept. I don't do paid deals or anything like that. I've never been approached for one. I probably never will do one. So there you go, folks. Brutally honest to a fault. Certainly not going to be a commercial sellout of any kind. I just do my own thing, and I'm glad you guys enjoy it. So that's about it for the viewer survey for the past year. Again, thank you to everybody who responded to it. And for those of you who may have made a comment on it and just were like, whoa, wait, where was the stuff that I was talking about? If you made a review request or asked for a certain genre or something like that, I didn't go over that because review requests I just stick on the requests list, and if it's a certain genre, then, well, it just depends on the genre. Specifically, the one that pops to mind is racing games. I don't play racing games, so reviewing them is just kind of moot. And for those of you who outright requested reviews of various games, please check the review list before you actually do that. Just go on the review list that I've got, hit Control F, and then type in the title of the game, and it should be on there. If it's not on there, then send me the request. So there you go, folks. That was the viewer survey, and when I next show up on your YouTube feeds, it's going to be requests month, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.